This is Russ. Hey, I'm back in the car again, headed out of Costco. Time's at 11:40 a.m. Temperature's 82 degrees outside right now. Yeah, I got up this morning, made a video for the Russ is Right channel, then headed off to Costco. A lot of cars here now. Yeah, a lot of times when I come early, there's not quite as many cars as there is cars right now. Everyone's trying to get out. Everyone's trying to find ways to get out of here. Okay. All right. So, yeah, recently my sister came into town for a visit. She was here from Tuesday through Saturday. So I've been busy pretty much the whole week. And so we went to the cemetery to visit our parents who are there and our grandparents and all the relatives. So yeah, so we went there. It's out in Stickney, Illinois. I did a video way early on the Russ is Right channel, one of the very first videos. And I had my sister-in-law actually do it to give us an explanation why so many Chinese are buried out in Stickney, Illinois. You want to know the answer why? You got to watch the video. No. I'll tell you guys here on More from Russ. Yeah, back in the day, the Chinese were not allowed to be buried in most of the cemeteries here in Chicago. Yeah, talk about discrimination, right? So there was only one cemetery that allowed it, and they happened to be out in Stickney, Illinois. Yeah. So many of the Chinese are buried out there, including my relatives. But here's one of the traditions that my dad used to do when we go to the cemetery. After we were done, we'd go to White Castle. Because there's a White Castle in that area, not too far from the cemetery. So we'd always go there after the cemetery. So we kind of maintained that tradition. I did it with my brother when we went together once. And then since my sister came into town, she says, yeah, we should go to the cemetery. So so we did it. So we went to the cemetery. She had 5 sliders and I had 5 sliders. Sliders are $1.05 each. $1.05, man. I remember. See, now this is when you get older. you could do the I remember when thing, right? I remember when sliders were 12 cents. 12 cents. Of course, that's like 60 something years ago. 12 cents. Yeah, but you know, it stays in your mind. You know, I remember it went up to 13 cents, and I remember saying, "It's 13 cents now." $1.05. But we did it. Okay, we did it. Then on our way back, we saw there was a Costco in Berwyn, Illinois. We stopped at the Costco in Berwyn, Illinois. I'll put a photo up if I remember. Yeah, basically the same as all the other Costco's. Yeah, we just walked around in there. We didn't buy anything. We just, let's go. So we went there and then we left. Now I came back out here. You can see in the back seat I have some paper towels. Yeah, we were running out of paper towels. I think we only had like 3 rolls left. So I figured, well, I'm there. I might as well get it. So I bought it, like $20 and something cents for, I don't know how many paper towels are in there. Yeah, Costco, I tell you. 50-50. Now, my sister-in-law sent me an article. It wasn't an article, I'm sorry. It was a video from some guy saying that, you know, the diet drinks are not safe. They probably aren't because of the aspartame and other artificial sweeteners. Yeah, we already know that. They could cause potential strokes and all that. Yeah, many of you guys have mentioned that too. Gotta wean off of this stuff. Gotta get back to the water only. Or maybe at least bring my own sparkling water, my Kirkland sparkling water. That'll be better she said, well, it'd be even better if you just did water. True, but you know, I can't just drink water on everything, okay? At home, I drink a lot of water. But when I go out, I want something else, you know, so. Yeah, well, eventually we'll have to wean off of this stuff. It's just not good for you. Not good for you as I continue to drink it. All right, anyway, let me tell you a story. Yeah, we got a story all the time. I was looking on Instagram, and I noticed 2 products, okay? I'll tell you a story for 2 products, okay? So, the first product was a life-saving device. And many of you have probably seen this before because you've seen news articles or news reports about it where someone's choking. They have this little mask thing you put over them. It's like a suction cup thing, right? It kind of, well, not suction cup, but a suction thing. It's suctioned out whatever is obstructing your passage, because breathing passages, because you're choking on it, right? So I go, hey, that's actually kind of a good idea. I've seen some news reports about how people got saved with that. I said, let me look into this. So I started looking at the reviews on the product, and it's kind of a 50-50 mix. Some people really said this is a really good product, and others said, I'm not too sure about this. Okay. I said, let me check another brand. There's got to be other brands besides the one, right? Same basic reports, 50-50 review. I go, wow, really? I would tend to think that would be kind of an important product, right? Some swear by it, some don't. Then it got me thinking. It says, you know, do you trust everything that you see for recommendations? I mean, like recently, I recommended Burn Buster for you guys, right, for lithium-ion battery fires. And then I even had people who said, you know, you shouldn't buy that stuff. That stuff doesn't work. Well, actually, it does work. It's not like it doesn't work. But I think their concern was, will it actually put out an e-bike fire? I would say in the early stages of it might. But an all-out blazing fire, no. Don't expect it to do that. I wasn't expecting it to do that. Hopefully you didn't think that too when you bought the product, because many of you did buy it, you know, from Between Russ is Right and More from Russ. In the early stages of the fire, you might have a chance. But if it's all out blazing blast of fire, get out of the house. I mean, I even mentioned this on the video here on More from Russ. On the Russ is Right one, I put it in just the description of the video. No, you got to use some common sense. I mean, really think about it. I mean, think about it. If the e-bike fire is so far out of control, get out of the house and call the fire department. Don't try to use the burn buster on that. You know, if you catch it in the early stages of it, you have a chance, right? I mean, think about it this way. Let's say this. Let's say you bought the burn buster, okay? You see the fire starting up. It hasn't quite hit all out burn everything type of fire. And, you know, they were saying, okay, you got noxious fumes and all that. Yeah, we all know that, okay? You got to be an idiot not to know there's going to be gases and stuff like that. No, if you are safe enough to be able to use it, use it. If it's gotten out of control, don't use it. Get out of the house and call the fire department. I mean, you have to use some common sense. I don't know why people do this. So anyways, so this air suction thing, right? Let's get back to that. The air suction thing. I says, that might be a good one to recommend to people. But then the reviews were like 50 mix. But I've seen like an Inside Edition or some of the other news type video. Well, I mean, they're a television program, but they show video clips and stuff like that of their show. I've seen a number of people get saved because of that. So I said, you know, it does work. And some people don't think it will. So do you discount a product like that and say this is not good because some people said they don't trust it? But when in reality you've seen news reports where these guys have actually been saved because of the product, do you say it's not good? I mean, it's the same thing with like the burn buster thing, you know. Do you say it's not good because the fire's out of control? No, use some common sense. People, please. Use some common sense. Oh man. So, okay, that's one story. tell you another story. I always tell stories. So I was on Instagram. I was, again, saw another product. It was a smartwatch. I go, ooh, it's a nice looking smartwatch. Kind of looked like a Rolex, that's Submariner type of look to it, right? With the bezel that rotates. I don't know if that thing rotates or not, but it has the same basic look to it. So I said, oh, let me look up who's this company, because I've done smartwatch reviews. And then, so I was looking at it, I go, yeah, it looks pretty interesting. It says, oh, look, there's a tab here for influencers. So I clicked on it. And then it says, then if you, submit to consider being an influencer for them, it says that you agree to all of their conditions. I go, okay, what's the conditions? So I read that. Yeah, it sounds like if you decide to be an influencer for them, you might be an influencer for them for life. Yeah, it was so restrictive of stuff that, it's like, whenever they want you to do something talk about the thing, that you will do it. No, I don't think so. Wow, I says, wow, that's a tough product to review if you got to do it for the rest of your life. I don't know, I'm exaggerating, but the point is that it was pretty restrictive of things that they require you to do. And I says, no, as good of a product it might be, I don't want to be that tied into you. The whole thing with products, you have to do some research on your own, no matter who recommends the product to you, whether it's a product for you or not for you. And so, so this whole thing with, like, go back to Burn Buster again, everything's kind of relating to that because, we just basically did our videos about it. I kind of thought about it. I said, there's some of the people who had commented that, I saw a video that the guy didn't recommend that you buy any of these lithium ion extinguishers because they don't work. That's not true. They do work, but you got to be realistic of when it can work, okay? Because if you watch some of their promo video sections that I did on the Russ is Right channel, you see it putting it out. It's not like it doesn't work. It does work, but you got to be realistic. When can you do it? Now, let me give you an example. Let's say you didn't buy the lithium ion Burn Buster product, and you have your cell phone's on fire, and you don't have anything to put it out because you didn't buy one. At that point, you're going to think, maybe I should have bought that, right? Or let's say they show a computer too. Let's say it's burning, your computer's burning. You go, oh, I don't have anything to put it out. Now you're going to kind of wish, I wish I would have bought that. Yeah. Does it work? Yeah, it'll put it out. Let's say your computer's on fire and it basically, a good chunk of the corner of your house is on fire because of that computer. Will it put out that fire? The answer would be no. It won't. It won't. Okay? It's too out of control at that point. So then you could say, yeah, that's a lousy product. It doesn't work. You have to be realistic. Okay? Know when it can and when it can't work. When it's out of control, it's time to call the fire department. Get out of there and call the fire department. But again, if it's within reason where you could possibly put it out, yeah, it's kind of nice to have something that can put it out, because some of the other products may not be able to do that. So, but people are quick to point out that they're not good. I go, well, it's not good for everything. Nobody said it's going to put out every fire. Use some common sense is all I'm saying. Same thing with these other products. Okay, one final thing, and then I'll let you guys go. Do you trust Amazon reviews? There are people who trust it 100%. Others will say, no, I don't, because they know that some of the Amazon reviews are fake. Yeah, sometimes they give you products just to do a review for them, and they want you to do a positive review. They actually tell you that. So it's kind of hard to trust that review now, right? Yeah, I don't do stuff like that. I don't take products where they tell me I have to take a positive spin on something. I don't want to do that review if they tell me that. But there are people who will, to get the product, right? No, I want to be able to say what I want to be able to say. I don't want to be able to be told to give me a positive review, if there's some negative things about it, I will tell the company, hey, I'm finding this as a negative thing or a potential negative thing, you know. So, and then we hash it out between the company, right? Sometimes they say, okay, don't publish the review then. Okay. Others will say, okay, you can publish it, but, you know, they'll tell you, don't dwell on it. Okay, but at least I get the chance to be able to mention that, right? The company that tells you to, no, take it out, put something positive about it. No, I'm not interested in that company then. I have no interest in that. I think most reviewers should try to be like that. You know, just reject it. It's just like e-bike companies. I've mentioned I've rejected more e-bike companies on the Russ's Right channel than the companies I've accepted. It's true. Just look at my reviews. A lot of the reviews are from the same company, but different models, right? But those are companies that have proven to be pretty decent, so I continue to keep taking more models that they have to offer, simply because they've proven to be pretty good before. So maybe they have a new product out that might be good to review for this time, so I accept it. Plus, I know that many of those bikes that I do might have better batteries involved, so I accept it. And then later, if I find out that the company doesn't do what they say that they do, you know, maybe they claim a certain battery is good on this thing and it's got, you know, UL listing, but in reality it doesn't, then I start thinking, okay, I'm not taking it on anymore. You know, I'll maybe do a one-off type of review and that's it. I won't do it anymore. Because sometimes we don't know either. You know, they tell us one thing. How do I know? How can you check every little thing? But when you find out about it, then you got to make a decision. Do you continue to work with that company or you don't? If that's the case, I decide not to then going forward. And there's been a couple of brands that have been a little iffy in that regard. So I just said, you know, if they ask me again, I'm just going to say no. Yeah. I won't mention the brands because I don't think it's fair to do that. But I do my best to check out the companies. Now, other companies start out good and turn bad. Yeah, you know, start out good, turn bad, you know, because maybe management changes or whatever decision changes they make, and now they're not really as good as they used to be. Then you got a decision to make, right? Do you continue to take more products from them or do reviews for those future products they might come out with, or do you say no to them? Yeah. So we got a couple companies like that too. You know, not every company stays good. It's what it basically boils down to. You know, companies come, companies go. Companies start out good, then they turn bad. You know, it happens. There's no way for you to know, really. I mean, just because you take a product on doesn't mean they're always going to be good forever. They may be good at that point when it was talked about, but companies change. You gotta have to kind of remember stuff like that. You know, I think when you're looking at product reviews and companies to consider, because sometimes that happens. Yeah. All right. Anyways, that's about all I have for you guys. Some food for thought. You know, thinking about products and how influencers influence you, because sometimes influencers do. Yeah, I will say, you know, going back to Burn Buster again, because that was the most recent one that we talked about. A number of you guys had purchased the Burn Buster product because I recommended it, and then you thought about it and probably said, yeah, that kind of makes sense, right? All I'm saying is if you bought the Burn Buster product, use some common sense, right? Don't expect it to do miracles for you if you have an all-out fire, because it's not gonna do it for you. Even with the e-bike fires, you know, early stages, one thing. All-out major fire going on, no, it won't. Okay, use some common sense. All right, anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Let me head out of here. And I appreciate all you guys who did purchase the product, because I have it in my house. I'm trusting it as well. So yeah, you can't trust everything that people say. Sometimes people like it, sometimes people don't, right? you have to make your own choices and stuff. So, anyways, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. I'll talk to you guys next time.